job properly. All right. I deliberately waited till the end because I wanted to hear what all of you have been through. I haven't had the chance to talk with most of you about the problems you've had. Some of you have come and we've had some discussions. We've had some very interesting discussions. Some very interesting discussions. And in listening to what you've all said, I feel like a fake for being here. Let me explain. That's not to put down what you've all said, but I don't have anywhere near the troubles that you people have. That's not, as I said, it's not to put you down. I am sad that this is an example of what our society is like. That so many of us are like this. I come from a society, an ethnic group from Sri Lanka. And majority of Sri Lankans start off trim, svelte, healthy. They get married, they go through their life, and they end up being buried overweight, sick and diseased. And I came to the realization, I'm not really here for me, I'm here for my mother and my father. My father died with Parkinson's. 20 years he suffered from the time he was just after he retired, early retirement, 55. And I saw that, and I didn't consciously say I was never going to get like that, but subconsciously I swore I would not get like that. My mother died with diabetes. Spent the last years of her life on dialysis.
Which one? Type 1, type 2?
The one that puts you on dialysis. The one that if you don't get dialysis, you die. And she eventually did decide not to go through with dialysis anymore. She was sick of it. She was so despondent. And she said, I'm not having it anymore. And within 3 days of that decision, she was dead. I have a brother who died from prostate cancer. 1 year younger than me. I'm the oldest of 9 children. So 1 year younger than me. And it was lifestyle. I saw it. And to my shame, I could have prevented what happened to my mother and what happened to my brother. Prior to this coming here, I've had 3 exposures to proper eating, to what it means to actually live and eat properly. I had it when I went to Sri Lanka. I had it when I did a cooking course. I had it when I stayed at Abide as a volunteer. So I've seen it. I've got no excuse. But as I said, to my shame, I did not follow through. I had all the knowledge, I had all the understanding, but I felt I wasn't qualified to tell people how they should live their lives. And that had consequences. My brothers and my sisters are all overweight. They're all carrying diseases. They're all carrying ailments and illnesses. By comparison with the average Sri Lankan, I am considered to be anorexic. Okay? I was 82 kilos when I was measured here, and I've lost 3 of them. And I don't want any help to find them, thank you. But before I got here, my journey did start about 7-8 months ago, when I felt impressed by the Lord that I needed to do something about my lifestyle. I was coming up to my 64th birthday, which happened in September, and I knew that if I didn't do something about the way I was going, I was probably going to end up in an early grave. And I've always made the commitment that I plan to be around till 120. God promises in the Bible that that's what he would give man. He gave him 120 years, and I have taken that promise to heart. And if he doesn't come before then, I plan to be around till then. But I decided I was going to change my life, and I lost 2 kilos. And I was patting myself on the back, and I was almost doing handstands and jumping jacks and all the other crazy exercises we've done while we've been here. And I thought I was brilliant. That was great, you know. I was going from 84 to 82 kilos, and then it stopped. So I thought the lifestyle I had adopted was showing results, but then when it stopped, I got very discouraged. And then I got sick. I got seriously ill. I'm not saying I would have ended up in hospital, but what you described about the diverticulitis, I believe something similar to that happened to me. I felt like I'd swallowed a lump of wood. This is about 2 months ago. And my digestion just stopped. I didn't know what to do. I got through that. About 6 weeks later, I got sick again. Similar, but not as bad. And the Lord was tugging on my heart, trying to get my attention, and that's how he had to do it for me, because I am an arrogant, self-serving, very fiercely independent person. I have travelled and done things that none of my family have done. I have travelled areas of the world that most people haven't seen, and I've seen things that most of you won't want to see. So I had to make a decision, and I didn't know I had to make a decision until I went to our Northwestern District camp up at the Grampians, and Bradley was there, Pastor Bud was there, and these two got talking about coming to the Maker Heals. And I thought, you know how you hear things, and you go, oh yeah, that's all right. So they're just talking. But it stayed with me. And I left the camp, and I felt impressed to call Pastor Bud, and I did, and I talked to him about the Maker Heals. And I said, I think I should go, but I'd like to know more about it. I'm this sort of person, I really won't go somewhere unless I can check out, just very quietly, you know, what's going on there, what are these people all about, you know? Are they a cult? All right, so I wanted to know. And once I know, I'm comfortable. I'll go anywhere, I'll do anything. If I am comfortable with the situation, I'll go anywhere. So I found out, and then one thing and another, I decided to come, but I had to make a whole lot of changes. I run a team of volunteers in Ballarat. We do food distribution and collection. And I had to find a way to organise the volunteers and get them all going in the one direction while I was away. I couldn't afford to let the people who were receiving the food be let down. So I got that done. I got here late, but I got here. This one jumped up and down and cheered when I got here. So that made me feel really good. I felt great. So as I said, since then I got here, I was weighed, blood pressure, all the rest of it. And as I said, I've lost over 3 kilos, so I'm really pleased with that, although you probably can't see it from when I got here because I'm really skinny anyway. All right, I've gotten stronger physically. I injured my back in 2014, and that has brought on something very strange, a bit of a wasting disease in the left side of my body. So my muscles in calf, thigh, arm and down the side here, especially where the surgery was, they are smaller, they're less able to do things. I have problems with my left hand, being able to make a fist. But since walking this murderous hill, and I've only done it twice, this woman here has said she's been, what have you done? You said you've done your punishment? Your sentence. It was a sentence. I did it twice and I said I'm not doing it again. So I figured out how to go down to the dam. So I would do that, go down to the dam, do a figure 8 circuit, walk back. A couple of you joined me. That was good. Yeah. And so I enjoyed that, and I have gotten stronger since that. I can like Dorothy said, I almost want to run. When I was younger, I was a sprinter, and I would come in just over 10 seconds on 100 metres. So I was good at it. I was good in the Navy too. I was on the athletics team there as well. So I've always had good legs, and I got very discouraged when my legs started to fail me. So they've gotten stronger. The skin, I've always been blessed with good skin. I've had the good fortune to choose good parents, so I have been blessed with good skin. But it started to break down, and again, it was a big concern to me. It has improved. Dryness, almost gone. Wonderful. And my concentration. I was struggling. It was an effort every day to get up and focus on what I needed to do. And if I didn't have my computer with me to prompt me, I would forget things, or I wouldn't get things done. And listening, that ties into the listening to the still small voice. Okay? I didn't hear God. Early on in the piece, I would hear him. When he would talk to me, I would actually hear him. And I had a good uncle who died some years ago, and he would constantly complain that he never heard God's voice. And I said, you are hearing it, you're just confused as to what you're hearing. You need to sift out. But I would hear God's voice telling me to do things that were for my benefit, not to go and preach to someone or tell someone else what to do. But I stopped hearing that voice. And it was because I was making the wrong decisions. I chose a diet that I thought would heal me, but it didn't. It stalled me. It actually made me worse. So hearing that still small voice, I've heard it again, and I continue to hear it. And I hear it through the conversations I've had with Brian, with Dorothy, anybody else I've talked with. I hear that voice. That's where it comes through. So I'm grateful for that. I've also recognised that Satan is in there, just as much as God is there wanting to talk to me and guide me, Satan is working even harder to derail me. He is working hard on my sleeping pattern. He's trying to get me to sleep longer or go to bed later. So sometimes I would get to bed about 10 o'clock, sometimes. And of late it was pretty good. But in the past, it was not unusual for me to be awake at 12 and 1 in the morning, still doing stuff because I couldn't sit still. And that was my diet. It was what I was eating. It was what who I was associating with. It was making me twitchy. Excuse me. And the other thing, I suppose the main thing, the spiritual thing in my part, as I said before, I'm quite arrogant. I'm quite determined when it comes to doing things. You will find it very hard to talk me out of anything if I believe it's what I should do. And the drawback with that is that you end up not listening or following God's will. And I have learned, just in these 10 days, to follow God's will, to be trusting him rather than trusting myself. I have spent the majority of my life as the eldest. I was taught to be the one that everyone else looked up to. And so I have carried that through. And that's part of my character as well. That wasn't hard for me to do that because it was part of my character. So trusting to the Lord, very difficult. And I've heard that from so many of you, trusting to the Lord. This is what it takes. The ability to let go of self and give the Lord control, give him the reins. Now, when I get back, I have a big job to do. And I'll tell you why I've got a big job to do. Most of you have how many fridges in your house? Hands up if you've got more than one. You've got more than one? 2? 3? 4? 5? 6? Okay, I'll stop there because that's how many I've got. Okay, I have 6 fridges. I have a large property, so I can put 6 fridges. But I put food into it because it's there for people to give them. All right? But that's not to say I don't also take from some of that food. I'll get food donated. I'll buy food. I will pick up food from supermarkets that is their waste, and I'll pick up food from businesses around town that have got food left at the end of the day. So that needs to be refrigerated because we can't just leave it out in the open. So it gets refrigerated, but sometimes the people aren't there to hand it out to. And even with our own church ministry, we have a large warehouse shed where once a week we run food distribution from there. And a lot of food goes there. So stuff gets left and it goes past its use-by date. I hate those things. And best before dates, I hate them too. Okay, they're good, they serve a purpose, but then it's sitting in the fridge and I'm going, what do I do with this? I don't like to waste it. Any others? Don't like to waste it. So I'll try and find something to do with it. I'll try and turn it into something to take to another place, cook it into something. But that doesn't work either sometimes. End up eating it. Either myself or I give it to my son. So again, that was feeding that wrong diet, what I thought was a good diet. So I have a few things to throw out. 8 bottles of Tabasco sauce. I know, he's going to cry. Bradley's going to cry. 2 different flavours, and that's just one of probably 12 different varieties I've got of chili sauces. Okay, so...
And he looks like this?
Initially, it's a chili that does it. Initially, we discussed this. A lot of us talked about it. You don't want to throw food away because it's a waste. But if the food is not good for you, then you're not throwing away, you're not wasting it. You're not throwing away something that's actually poisonous, something that's toxic. And that's the realization I came to with the food. Right? So that's a big job. I've got a lot of work to do when I get home in that respect. And lastly, I can't do this on my own because I will fail. Okay? Any of us, if we try to do these changes that we've learned in the 10 days, we will fail. I have to trust the Lord. I have to give him my life, my heart, my will, and let him direct me as to how I do things, when I do them, and with whom I do them. I have great burden for my church members. As I said, I've been given 3 opportunities before this to do this right. I actually did cooking programs through the conference with Sibylla Johnson, and I have a very basic understanding of how to cook and how to do it right, but I didn't follow through on it. This is, as somebody else has also said, this is my chance, another chance from the Lord to make good on what he has blessed me with and to turn it to good for those who are around me. We have, as we heard in the lectures, we have a responsibility to all those around us, not just to ourselves, to everybody around us, and that includes our church family. They need to learn as what I've learned. And the Lord will give me the way to do it. I can't just march in there and tell them what to do. What's that going to do? It's going to get their backs up. Right? So that's why I'm trusting to the Lord to help me to do that and to complete that work. And thank you to all of you. Your stories have encouraged me, and it has told me that it's not too late for me to do something to help others. And I hope the Lord uses me. Okay? Thank you.
Man of sorrows.